Welcome to Handcrafted by G.L. Broussard. I'm Greg Broussard, and today we have to fix this awesome kitchen drawer. They use it for silverware. It's starting to come apart, starting to pull apart. So we're going to replace the front of this and get it working again. This is made out of that particle press stuff, sawdust glued together kind of thing. And we're gonna have to work with this. Is what we've got. That's what we got to do. So this screw has failed. It's pulled out, and this screw has been moved in the back. The drawer's coming out of its groove down here. So we're going to take this drawer, this front part off, and see what lies underneath. Again, I apologize for the background noise. It's just 500 degrees in here. I have to have the fans on. What do we got? Okay. So what we're going to do is make another one of these to fit in here. I think that's what we got to do. See this crack right here? We'll fill this in too. Looks like someone tried to repair this with some kind of silicone or something. So I'm going to clean this up so we'll have a decent surface. We'll glue and screw this together after we make the new top. I think this piece of pine will work great for the repair. It's a tiny bit wider this way, which is good. We have a little bit to play with, and it's a lot thicker, so we're going to have to cut this board down to the thickness of the original one. I've got my miter gauge set up for the exact cut, so we're going to do the length now. I have the thickness and the height of my blade set. There's a little wobble in here on purpose so I can clean up the saw marks when I'm done. So I've changed my zero cleanser insert, put my riving knife back in for safety, and if I can get my feather board going, we'll cut it. To get this to the exact thickness as the original, I'm going to run it through the drum sander. We have the exact thickness. Now we have to get the exact height of the board, and it's coming up just a little bit. So we're going to trim this off just a little bit. I just flattened this bench, so this should be okay to reference to for a flat surface, and I'm just going to mark how much we need to take off. I mark lines on both sides so I can keep my depth. I'm going to use my joiner plane, and I'm going to take it down to my line with the plane. This is the side we just joined, so we did a good job. So now we have to cut the groove for the drawer. I have to know how far this groove starts down, so this board is a little raggedy. I don't know exactly if this is the true bottom. So I've set my marking gauge up where it hits the top of the groove here when the drawer is upside down. I checked it on this, and I also did the thickness. So now I know exactly on our new piece from the bottom where to score our line, so when we put this together, the bottom of the drawer will go in its groove. This is the bottom inside of our drawer. So for visual, I'm just going to mark this, and I'll put our 2 score lines on here. I was going to cut the groove with this plane here, but the fence doesn't go over far enough. And this is what I cut the bottom of my drawers with. I'll show you how nice of a groove this can put in for a bottom of a drawer. It works really well. I won't do the whole thing. I just give a little sample. And now I'm starting to go in the groove. And you can see it's starting to develop a groove in there. So, but the fence isn't long enough. So anyway, we'll just do this on the table saw. We just cut this on the table saw. Forgot to turn the camera on, so I ran it through, moved the fence, ran it through, made my groove. So, oh well, I didn't turn my camera on. Perfect. Okay, so since this fits like it's supposed to, we have to mark the holes where the hardware goes. Got both the inside parts of the drawer facing up. I like to put it on my miter gauge and butt it up against my fence so I know everything's square and straight. And I'll mark this where this screw was. Then I'll mark where this screw was. And I would mark this, however I discovered that's not in the middle. So I had to go back and I had to find the middle where the handle goes. It was close, but it wasn't in the middle. So I changed it. And then now that's the middle of the drawer. That's where the pull will go. Let's drill these out and paint it. I thought I had everything lined up and I didn't. So I went back and I marked everything again. And we're going to drill our holes now so we can sand and paint. And this, we mark from this side. I will mark this and put a dent in the wood. So that will mark where we drill. Okay. This is where our drill pool goes. I'm just using this guide so I can keep the bit up and down. I don't think I need to use the drill press for this. And this will keep me straight enough, I believe. And this is where our pool will go, but on the other side, you know, where the drawer front is. We only have to paint one side of this board because this is the inside. This other side will be faced up against the drawer part. While that piece dries, I've got to peel the rest of this stuff off here. Oh, that's nice. And then we're going to paint this surface. You can't paint over this crazy looking stuff, whatever it is. So this is where the old back was, so we just have to clean around the perimeter really. And just make this flat for the new piece to go on. Really is all we got to do. So we'll put some Windex and just clean these areas so it look nice when we give it back to them. This didn't work out the way that I planned, so I'm gonna take this paint off and spray it is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to scrape most of it off, sand it lightly, and then spray it. This is try number 2. I consulted my cousin and she's the paint master of the universe. So I'm going to roll paint onto the wood instead of brush it. So I stripped the wood down, I took the paint back off that I put on, and I'm going to roll it. As per her instructions, she said seal it, and I didn't have to seal it, but since that was an option, I was at the store anyway getting this roller. I sealed it, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to roll it, and hopefully this will come out just fine. It's assembly time, and I'm just going to use where the staples were to drill a pilot hole. Now I'm gonna countersink it. So make sure the back of this thing doesn't come apart. I'm just gonna countersink a screw here. Have smaller threads on the drill bit this time. It's assembly time. This is a traditional drawer that I made with dovetails, but this has got a traditional bottom. It's got a full oak bottom. It has to expand, so that groove that runs around here, this can slide back and forth in that groove. We don't have to worry about this doing that because it's MDF. It's not going to move all over the place. So that's why I glued that for a little more strength. Before I attach the front, I'm going to clean this drawer up a little bit. It's a little bit easier. We have a successful repair on this drawer. Now the best part, we get to deliver it. And I will mark the hole. That's too big. And it's upside down, so I have to recenter it again. Gosh dang it. The front is a different, right here, it's different than this piece. Blah, 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 blah.